Back on Leading Edge, he's Nolan, Rosenkrans reporter at the Blade here in Toledo, also president of the News Guild, which represents the reporters at the Blade, talking about the censorship, what they feel is censorship, the use of different words, changing really the meaning of what we saw at the insurrection in Washington. So you feel censored. And as I said in a tease, that's what we call it in TV before the break, you know who else feels censored? The president and his supporters on the right, tossed off of social platforms because of messages that could incite violence. It does, Nolan, raise some pretty good First Amendment issues about controlling the free flow of information. And then here's where I wanted to get to. You posted, I think, just this week, sir, about that whole thing that, hey, don't tell me the right's been silenced, showing what I thought was just a hateful tweet that I think was directed toward you.
Yeah, it was. There are people that assume that I'm Jewish because of my last name, and they then use that to direct anti-Semitic language towards me. And frankly, it's common in the journalism industry to face that kind of vitriol at times from hate groups. And the fact of the matter is that Twitter and Facebook and others that have become major players in how people consume news have had a role to play about how discourses change over this time period. I think anybody who's spent time on these social media platforms see a lot of the hateful language and the lack of moderation over it. And so, yeah, there needs to be a larger community debate about how social media entities, interplay with the First Amendment and community speech, and frankly, how they affect the journalism industry. These giants have cornered the advertising market online and are killing newspapers across the country.
Absolutely, yeah, I know. Hey, I should also point out that I think in your response, you wrote something along the line, I don't have it in front of me, but you said, not that it matters, comma, I was raised Catholic. And then the response to that was, yeah, well, whatever, in essence, put you, I think by the bottom line, in bed with Satan. I think Satan was referred to in that way, right?
Yes.
Yes. At the risk of burying the lead, I know people are saying, Jerry, get to it. At the risk of burying the lead, I have put off discussing another head-scratching, troubling part of this is social media posts from the wife of your company's chairman shouting about it. I think it's shouting, folks, online when everything's in caps. No peace, no unity, no concession, talking about the presidential race. A, quote, stolen election, referring to Mr. Biden and his whore VP. That's cold. All of this written by Susan Block. How did that post factor at all into your positions of what was going on and your contentions in this discussion?
I think that it would be untrue to say that it didn't factor in at all, right? Like, it was so shocking. It offended our staff members as well. And it also is sort of just a public indication, again, about the mentality of the Block family. But what our protest was really about was about the way that then feeds into Block communication as a whole and how the company acts in the community. So like our coverage, but it goes beyond that as well. The fact that Susan Allen Block spreads hateful language online is not new. It's happened for a long time. We've tried to raise this as an issue before about bigoted things that she said online, and we will continue to do so because we think it's the moral thing to do. But us going on a byline strike wasn't just really about Susan Allen Block posting bigoted things online. Okay. It's about how they then use their political power in the newspaper, in the cable division, elsewhere to harm our community. And this was about sending a message to the community that we stand with you against the Block family and their unethical or hateful language or actions.
Now, I don't speak for the Blocks at all, but I did give you their response earlier about, no, we weren't censoring. Block Communications respond to this one, say, hey, she's a private citizen, has a right to her opinions. Her views are not ours. In fairness, again, can't they claim that distance or no? Did she serve on the board of the newspaper? Is she a part owner of the newspaper?
She served on the board of Block Communications, that
right, which is the parent,
both the Blade and Buckeye Cable. And she and Alan have immense influence about what happens in the paper. They will say that they don't have any involvement in the paper, and it's just simply not true. I've been in the newsroom when Alan Block has called in to change quotes that he's given about stories about himself, or to try to guide coverage. And this comes from Susan and Alan as well. This claim that she's totally separated from the company is absolutely false.
Okay.
And the fact of the matter is that she represents BCI. We never came out and said she should be banned or blocked or kicked out of a board. That's up for individuals to decide for themselves. But what we are going to do is let people know about it. People have the right to know if the most powerful people in town are spreading the kind of hatred that we as a nation are talking about and how it affects our country. The Block family, not only are they major business people in town, but they're major contributors to politicians in local, state, and federal elections. And all you have to do is look at the campaign finance stuff. Susan was even a Republican Party Central Committee member recently. So this whole like, she doesn't represent us, that's fine. They're a corporation, they're going to say that. Right. This is more about how the Block family interplays with the community.
I don't like to do this show for this many years and not have this guy on my program before. Nolan or Rosenkrans, we're going to have to leave it right there for right now. Thank you for what you do. I have followed your career for years. Just an outstanding reporter. Thanks for keeping us on the leading edge of covering history and conveying truth when so many, it seems, are just more interested in non-truths. And when I come back, Ohio's governor on board with a local push to get people vaccinated. The V Project's founder joins me on Leading Edge.